Hey, aloha. Welcome to the Friday Marketing Jam Session. I am Tom Gaddis. I am in chilly Las Vegas. It is freezing here. It's like oh, God, it was like 30 something degrees when I took Paige to school this morning. It's all cloudy and gloomy, but I'm here and we're going to have some fun. I'm on the call with my business partner, Nick Ponte, who I saw is wearing board shorts. So I know it's not cold where he's at.
Oh, when I went,
it's like, man.
I know, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm wearing long sleeves. I got the heat going. I'm like,
And I woke up, I went and swam, went and saw some turtles, saw some fish. I'm chilling.
Nice. Nice. Hey, what's up, Michael, Richard, Enrique, Chris, Cody? Welcome, everybody. We're excited to be here. We got a great show lined up for you today. I'm going to skip the chit chat. We're just going to cue the intro. We'll see you back here in one momento.
It's now time, the moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics.
Hey.
What happened there?
Whoa.
It's now time, the moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. After 167 agonizing hours, they've finally returned. From the sun-soaked Sin City and the sandy shores of Maui, Hawaii, now back for a brand new Aloha Marketing Jam session. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks and Remote Millionaires, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Oh yeah, that applause always gets me fired up. Now I'm getting fired up. welcome, everybody. Oh yeah, sounds great out there. Look at that. Who else came in? I see Dorn came in. Cameron's here. Norm.
Dorn's back
Madeline.
from the Facebook ban.
Yeah. Oh, hey, David. David from Delicious Marketing. What's up, David? Hey, Patty.
David.
Welcome. L. Scott. Man, look at all those people coming in. Wow. Yeah. Getting fired up on the intro, right? Hey, Bruce. Welcome. You didn't get blown away. That's good. Frank the Tank in the house. Yeah. Awesome. Well, welcome, everybody. It has been a busy week at Offline Sharks HQ. You guys know we wrapped up our launch. Got a lot of stuff going on in the agency. We did a special training on Wednesday. Who was at the training on Wednesday? Somebody. Oh, Jeremy says he's tuning in from Romania.
Wow.
Oh, Steve is in Hawaii. Welcome, Steve.
What's up, Steve? He's in Pahoa. Oh, big island.
Yeah. Doug Page, welcome. Welcome. Dorn. I know Dorn was on the training. Yep.
Man, awesome. That was a really good training, Tom. Trapdoor.
Woo.
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, our trapdoor tactic. You know, it's interesting because it is, something we've talked about before. We haven't talked about it a lot recently. And I think sometimes people, a lot of the strategies and things that we talk about, and especially ones that we bring to our community. And I think this is a good example of what we always talk about on this live about consistency and stuff like that. Is like almost all of them are things that we continue to use in our business, even when you don't hear us talking about them. So, even though you haven't heard us talking about some of the courses that we released last year, the year before, or sometimes even the year before that, like we still use all those strategies in our business.
Our very first strategy we ever launched, I did last week.
Yeah, last week. Yeah,
last week. So, in fact, if you're there, I got one more lead for that same strategy this morning from Aaron, the bike shop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of what we teach is called evergreen, right? A lot of people don't know what that term is, but evergreen is like something that you can use forever. Maybe not forever, but like a lot of the stuff, it's foundational and can be applied and not dependent on, whether or not, I don't know, Twitter is around really.
Look at that. Chris has 2 chiropractic appointments next week.
Congrats, Chris.
That's freaking awesome. Way to take action. That's fantastic. Fantastic. So we got a good live show lined up for you. We're going to do some shout outs. We do have a member of the week. We're going to take your questions. We'll probably talk a little bit about the training. There are some specific things on there I kind of wanted to mention today. We'll talk about those. She said it was a combo of AGM, Agency Growth Machine, and Professional Services Payday for the win.
Wow.
Oh, Patty said she really loved the remote client bonus. Yeah, that's another method that we do all the time, and we don't we do talk about it quite a bit in Remote Millionaires, but it is what we do all the time. Yeah, awesome. So what should we start off with? Maybe we should start off with some shout outs.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's start off with some shout outs. I'm going to share my screen here. Made some extra button clicks in this process. So here we go. All right, you should be looking at my screen here. These are our shout outs for last week. So the first shout out goes to Stormin Norman. He sold a Google Business Profile Optimization Package, $1,750 Canadian dollars. That's what CAD stands for, $1,300 US. He hired a new salesperson who closed 2 new sales for SEO, $630 and $505 US dollars. That's a big win.
Man,
that's awesome.
When you get somebody else closing your deals, I mean, it's basically rock star status, you know? Yeah. And that's, that's the beautiful thing about AGM is like, even before you get someone to close deals, you just have someone reaching out to business to make connections. I remember a time, Tom, when we first started doing that, when we first brought in a couple people to help us with that for AGM, it was like, if we didn't have somebody out there every day reaching out to businesses, like if they were home sick or whatever that day, something was just wrong. Like, I'm like, we're not opening doors. Once you actually have that happening for the first time in your business, it's a total game changer. And you realize you realize that it's crazy that you have not been reaching out to businesses every day in one way or another, whether it's you or somebody else in your team.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was the realization that I am not the person to do it every day on a daily basis. Like my ability to stay consistent with that is very short-lived. I can usually buckle down for 60, 90 days, be pretty, resilient with it. But then it's like my attention starts to wane. I start to get busy with fulfillment. I start to I want to move on to something else, and so finding that person that can do it on a consistent basis, or just not even the person, setting up a system, right? Setting up a system where it happens consistently was really, really key. Our second shout out goes to James. James closed a deal with the new vehicle tinting business, website and Google Business Profile Services. He traded costs for the build and service for a tint job, plus review and referrals. Ooh, nice.
Man, I like that. I like that industry. I feel like that's a good one. Like, I might have to start going after it.
Yeah. I don't know who this is, but this, by the way, is a very common problem. Very common problem. Very common problem. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Let's see. Our next shout out goes to Marambi. $1,200 monthly recurring revenue, trust trigger sale, health services niche, plus $350 monthly recurring for a local campaign for foot in the door. That's awesome.
Nice.
Janine closed 2 new clients, a solar client for $19.97 a month, SEO plus $750 Google Business Profile setup, and then a small country charm real estate agent for $10.99 SOP and Google Business Profile. Those are 2 solid wins right there.
Very solid wins. I mean, nothing like a real solid win to give you some momentum, Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Bill Stanley sold his first home services jackpot website to a tree removal service for $500. Plus, he's discussing doing SEO campaign in the future. That's a big win for Bill. Congratulations, Bill. I'm glad to see that. I know Bill was like, man, he just keeps going. He's like a good example of consistency. Really awesome. Joachim, I hope I'm saying this right. Joachim sold 2 new websites. He didn't share the costs, but 2 new website deals in the pipe. That's fantastic. Michael closed a local business owner who attends his church. Google business profile cleanup for $200. Made a final follow-up, letting the owner know he was about to close his file. Oh, that's a great strategy we can talk about. And the owner reached out. They had lunch and closed the deal. So that's a tactic for those of you that are wondering, what does he mean? Letting him know he's going to close his file. So that's one of the tactics that we talk about in a couple of different trainings. I think we may have even, I'm pretty sure we talked about it in professional services payday as well in the follow-up section. But one of the things you can do, you know, when you're continually following up and not hearing back and you just continue to follow up and don't hear back, if you set a time limit, right, and you just decide, okay, I'm gonna draw a red line in the sand. So you send them an email and you just say, hey, I've been trying to reach out, you haven't been responding. Like, I get it. Maybe you're not interested. Maybe you've just been busy. But look, how about I just want to close your file. So can you just let me know yes or no right now, so I know whether to keep going or whether to just, leave as friends. And that's what he did. And the owner reached out, which is exactly why we do that tactic, right? So excellent work, Michael. Way to put that stuff in action. And then Steve, new deal closed, SEO and Google ads, $1,000 a month Canadian, so $740 US. That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Cody Weaver shared a bunch of wins this week. New website for a med spa, PPC, Facebook, $1,000 a month, a Facebook optimization to a kids boutique, $500. Google Business Profile Management and pay-per-click for storage units, $875 a month. An SEO, PPC, and geo package for $2,100 a month for a staffing agency. And he taught a seminar to local business owners on using AI for marketing, waiting on some affiliate cash to come in on that. That's great. That's such a hot topic. I just heard the other day that ChatGPT now has 100 million users. Did you hear that? 100 million users. Crazy. I like the thing about, teaching business owners. One thing that I did when we were in Maui was there's an organization there called the Maui Small Business Association. It's like they have a little office down by that movie theater. I forget what that name of that shopping mall is, by the Whole Foods there in Kahului.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little office back there, and they just provide, you can go in there and get all the information you need if you're starting a business. And they do they will have people come in and do free trainings for people. And so I went in one time and did Google had this thing where they would send you gift cards to go get coffee. They'd send you a bunch of marketing materials for Google paid ads so that you could go out and present to clients, bring people in and tell them about it. So I did that event at that place and they mailed their whole list. The room was packed. It was crazy. Wow. Crazy. Yeah. That was before we met.
Yeah, I've seen that place. They are a good resource. Yeah. And they're likely, resources just like that in your area, like economic development groups, things like that, right? We have a place kind of over here by our office that is a economic development place where it's a space that I think it's from the county or the state or something. They just make it available for entrepreneurs and people to do things and have meetups there. Those are great places to network. Those are great places to get clients. I got a lot of my early clients out of there.
Yeah, they are. Don't overlook them. Actively seek out and see if there's any places like that in your area. Look, Cody said, for anybody in here that's just getting started, he started with Offline Sharks client in a weekend 18 months ago. He'll do $300K the second year in his agency.
Damn.
So Cody had it was interesting. I talked to Cody on the phone. He had he had a children's entertainment business. They did bouncy houses and things like that, but COVID pretty much wiped it out. So he started getting into the agency space and he's been crushing it. Yeah. Wow. Really, really good. And then back on the farm at our little agency there in Kihei, Megan, who is our sales rep there, upsold an existing pest control client to an additional $3,000 a month SEO package. So, and this is, and I know Cody is probably already doing this, but for any of you out there that are getting traction and getting clients, don't forget to periodically go back and talk about other things you can do for them, right? Or how you can increase the results you're getting for them. So yeah, excellent work. Yeah.
And that's a $3,000 a month SEO package is like, whew, that's a solid one, because, SEO is such a great service to offer because it's so scalable. It can be very systematized. You can have people on your team doing the various stages of fulfillment, and it's fairly easy to monitor progress and control the quality. So, a $3,000 a month SEO package that's a top shelf client right there. Yeah. And actually that particular client is already spending, I think, like $4,000 in Google ads too. I think that client by itself is now up to $8,000 a month in subscription-based services with us. One client, Tom, 6 figures from one client per year.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I told everybody, I'm like, we need all hands on deck. They can't leave. We need to keep them forever, and rightfully so. Like these are the kinds of clients that you do want to pull out all the stops for, It's so true that the ones that are spending $500 or $300 are usually the most difficult and challenging to work with. But these guys, they haven't even bothered us at all. And now they're spending more money.
That's great. That guy's going to come out tomorrow. You're going to be in his driveway washing his car, right? Like, hey, man, I just thought I would clean this up for you. Really appreciate your business.
Right. One of the things that I wanted that I think is a good question or topic to throw out there is like, that client, we're going to be writing a lot of articles for them, because we're doing SEO, and part of our search engine optimization packages involved articles. So, I'm thinking Easy Content Engine might be a way to really scale that, because man, $3,000 a month, that's like 15 articles in my mind that we need to give them each month. Or, OpenAI, or what would any of you do? What would be your option or your way of fulfilling some of that blog article fulfillment for that kind of client? Because, we've been handwriting our articles for years. I was talking to Adriana, Tom, who's our project manager, as you know, but letting everybody else know, we have 5 content writers writing articles every month. Like, that's how many clients we have, and they're busy, and they're getting busier and busier and busier and busier. And I'm like, man, the content world is really scaling fast, so these things are opening up for us, and the way that you can deliver are really opening up. And anyway, I'm just thinking about that. I'm really looking at really closely at that and how to fulfill that. And I think we're in this age of innovation, like it's happening.
Yeah, it is interesting. I saw, this isn't really related to the agency space, but I thought this was interesting. There's a sci-fi publishing house that is no longer accepting new submissions because of all of the AI submissions they're getting. Like all of these people that are asking AI to write books and stories and man, crazy. I saw somebody the other day talking about if Amazon will figure out a way to get their TV shows written by AI. I mean, think about the cost they would cut, right? Like crazy. Yeah. Crazy. Well, yeah, those are awesome wins. So for all of you keeping track at home, that's a combined total of 15,644 for the week of February 12th through February 17th. It's a grand total of 252,376 since the start of 2023. Remember, last year we did 1.6 million in reported deals from the group. And so our goal this year is 3 million. So if you're out there, you're taking action, you're getting results, you're getting some wins, share them in the group so we can track it into our totals and keep a more accurate count of what's going on. And by the way, we don't even count the recurring. So like a lot of the deals that we share, on these live shows, those are recurring, month after month, and we don't track that in. We just count them one time. So awesome work out there, Sharks. Awesome work.
Yeah. And I see Dorn said we need to pick it up if we're going to hit that number, and we do need to pick it up. That means, Dorn, I want to see some wins from you that are not $9 ebooks. You're closing deals. I know you're out there closing deals. Yeah. So, and everybody else, right? Like if you're landing clients and closing deals, come back to the community, come back to the group, share them with us. I love seeing the industries that people go after. I love asking questions on how they found the client. I love the dialogue going on in the comments by other people in the group that are asking these questions and how'd you do it? And here's how I did it. And here's how I can help. And here's the issues. And here's what I did before. And here's now what I'm doing to be successful. All that stuff is like, it's just this mastermind effect, right? Was Napoleon Hill the guy that came up with the mastermind concept?
It's in his book, Think and Grow Rich. Yes. The mastermind, he called it. The master.
Yeah. Can you break down the mastermind concept for us?
It's basically like, you get a bunch of people together that are successful or heading towards the same goal, right? Mm-hmm. And just in the act of participating, of sharing, of talking about what you're doing, like the whole group gets elevated, right? And it is particularly good if you can get people that are doing different things. Like, you don't want a bunch of people that are all doing the same stuff or maybe in the same market, because a lot of times some of the biggest innovations that we've experienced have been us taking things that people are doing in another market and having success with and implementing it in our market. So, I think that's the basic idea. I haven't read that in a long time, so I hope I didn't butcher that. But yeah.
No, that's. Yeah. I think my Wi-Fi is getting a little weird. Am I still here?
You're still here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, you did. You did. Excellent job. Excellent job. The only other piece I would add to that is like the visual aspect of, when people get in the same room discussing a common topic or objective, a alternative or an additional mind will appear, the master mind, right? And that's the effect that you have of having that collaborative support, and if you get in front of a whiteboard with like 4 other people, like one of you gets in front of a whiteboard and you're talking about prospecting and you get feedback from everybody and then you bounce ideas off each other, you couldn't do that by yourself. You're in a vacuum, you're in an echo chamber. And the reason I said all this is because like we all work remotely. We're all at home. Tom's at home. I'm at home. And it does very often feel like we're living in like a vacuum chamber in terms of the way information comes into the business or, into what we're working on and how we go about it. So our Facebook group, our community really is that place where you can do that. You can have that mastermind effect while being remote. So you got to use it.
I mean, Yeah, a couple of other things I'd probably add to that. One, an interesting fact, by the way, is Napoleon Hill was broke when he wrote that book, which I think was really interesting. But another thing I would add to that is like, I was talking to somebody here in Vegas the other day. He's an attorney, and he goes down and volunteers with this guy here in town that he has an organization that's trying to help homeless people not be homeless, right? To get them out of that. And he has like 4 things that he's identified that people in that situation do, and it prevents them from moving forward. And so like a couple of the things that I found interesting, because I'm like, I think we all do this when we're trying to get going and start a business, or we can fall into these traps. And one of them applies to the mastermind. He called it lateral learning. Like if you are in a group of people that are all the same as you or doing less than you, like how are you going to get to the next level? Like the important thing is if you're all talking about the same thing, that's not good, right? Like you need to be in a group where there can be people at your level, but you also want people that are past your level, because those are the ones that are going to show you like, oh, well, yeah, I've been there. I've done that, right? Like, and now this is how I got past that. So sideways, he called it sideways learning, where they're all just in there talking about the same things back and forth, right? That was one. And then the other thing that I thought was really interesting was he talked about how they tell stories, which is like, you know, the reason they're where they're at, they have a story for the reason they're where they're at or why they should be somewhere different. And instead of like looking at their current situation in the reality that it is and crafting a plan to take actionable steps to get out, they will tell themselves the story of why they're there. So my attorney friend said when he goes down there to volunteer, what he hears all the time from those people is like, oh yeah, well, I have a lawsuit that will make me millions of dollars. He's like, this is what happened to me. And he's like, and then they tell him, and he's like, dude, that's like, you can't sue somebody for that. Like, they don't owe you millions of dollars. like that's a story you're telling yourself, right? Like, so you have to break free from that, right? You have to realize like, you're accountable. And if you're in a situation that you know, obviously when you're talking about homeless people, there's a lot of other stuff too, that like mental things and stuff like that require, you know, extra help and all that stuff. But I know for me, you know, I used to always say like, oh, like a story I would tell myself is like, well, I just did it earlier on the show. I still haven't gotten it all the way out. I'm not really great at prospecting. Like that's a fixable story, right? Like I could be great at prospecting all the time. Like that's a fixable thing. I just have to like set it up in my schedule, then show up and do it, right? Like there's actions I can take to change that about myself. And so, you know, I found for me, the biggest jumps in success I've had are when I stopped believing that story that I was telling myself and just started implementing habits and behaviors that made me a different kind of person. So for instance, I used to like always be late to stuff, you know? And I just used to say like, oh, well, that's just how I am, you know? I'm just late. But it wasn't until I like made the commitment to be on time for everything, to be early. Then all of a sudden I became this person that shows up on time. And I became a person that became dependable, right? Like because of the actions I was taking, not the, you know, instead of continuing to tell myself that stuff, I just started taking specific actions, right? Things like, oh, I'm not a morning person. I used to think that I'm not a morning person, but then I just made a commitment to start getting up earlier in the mornings and doing more stuff. And what do you know? Like now my wife is like, oh, you're such a morning person. I'm like, actually, like that is contrary to Tom's natural behavior, right? But even though I didn't like doing it in the beginning, and still today, sometimes I open my eyes and I'm like, oh, I do not want to get out of bed. I do it anyway, right? So I just take the actions. I put my feet on the ground. I move one in front of the other. I go, look, I don't want to get out of this bed, but I'm gonna roll my legs off and I'm gonna walk to the bathroom. Like that's just the first goal. Like let's just get to the bathroom. All right, now I'm gonna brush my teeth. Okay, done, right? So anyway, enough about that though.
No, it's good stuff, man. And I've been seeing that, more of that from you too lately, you know. No more Maui time, right? Those of you that are from Hawaii, you know how it is. Hawaii time, Maui time is like basically everybody that lives here is retired. So they're 10 minutes late to everything. Rather than being 10 minutes early, they're 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late. You can regularly have a meeting with somebody, an appointment, and they show up 15 minutes late, like it doesn't freaking matter. Like
no big deal.
Normal.
Interestingly enough, when you're the one that's on time, it differentiates you. You're different from everybody else because you're there on time. Like you stand out. Yeah, Atomic Habits is a really great book for that. I did actually part of the call I did yesterday for our Remote Millionaires members. I talked about this because we've been going through a lot of stuff in all of our businesses over the past 60 days. I mean, it's been a little longer than that, but really the past 60 days have been pretty stressful, right? They've been pretty stressful. We've had
crazy. There have been days where I've just been like,
yeah, we were talking about that the other day because like I just closed my door and set my head down on the desk
and
like,
cry.
Oh, I can relate. I can relate. But I was talking to them about like one of the things that, you know, comes out of that stuff is like improving your mental toughness. Like I spent a few years like looking at ways to do that. Like, well, how do you improve your mental toughness to be able to continue to move forward, even when it seems like what you're doing today isn't really, like, is it going to make that big of a difference? Or you have that feeling of you just want to give up, And so I shared some of the strategies that I do, one of the things for me is setting some challenges for myself that aren't related to work. Like if I can set a challenge and complete it and it's not directly related to like money, like I find when I do that to myself regularly, like when I challenge myself in other areas of my life, like if I challenge myself to be on time for everything that I'm going to for a week, or I challenge myself to like do something physical, right? Like maybe, I don't know, one time I did this thing where I just wanted to do 100 push-ups because I thought like 100 push-ups seemed crazy to me at the time. I was really out of shape. And, but I did it just by like doing 10 push-ups and waiting for a while and doing 10 more and waiting for a while and doing, and surprisingly, like I hit the 100 way before the day was over. But like that just like, that showed my brain like, oh, okay, if I just break things into small chunks and do what I can, like I can hit these big goals that may seem overwhelming at the time, but it's about focusing. So like that's one thing that I do, but also too, I know with you do the same thing as me. The other big part of that is the routine, right? Having a routine and doing all that stuff.
Yeah. And I think at some point I realized that when I'm buried in fires or stress or tasks that are in front of me that I know I need to do in order to get to the next level, and I might be stressed, or I might be there's a book that I read recently called The War of Art. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Where he talks about resistance, which is like
resistance. That's in a lot of his books. Yeah. Stephen Pressfield.
It's a great book. You guys should read that book. Where resistance is, and the whole book, the beginning of it, the first few chapters are just like all about resistances and examples of like resistance your lost keys before you get into your vehicle and you need to go to work, like all these little things that are resistance in your life, and your ability to go past the resistance, overlook the resistance. Resistance is being able to build a list before you prospect, having the list ready to go every morning so that you can easily prospect every morning, stuff like that. And one of the things that I think I've noticed in building what we've built and just doing or becoming an entrepreneur is really knowing when I have these, or I'm navigating these waters of great resistance, that this is where the competitors don't push forward. And for some reason that drives me. I'm like, this is where most people stop. This is where most people back out. And like, even, in the last few weeks when we've had our problems are really growing too big in the agency, growing too big in offline insurance, growing too big in remote millionaires, which are great problems to have. I'm not like complaining about these things. But at some point, like when you're in those situations, you end up saying like, or thinking like, well, this is where other people give up and we should push past it. And I actually become, when I notice that, it actually makes me go into a state of like getting even more aggressive with it and more excited about it. And if you can convince yourself that like the challenging part is where the good stuff happens, and you want to attack the challenging stuff rather than let it attack you, I mean, you're going to be able to do some incredible things,
And I saw somebody ask what the other three things were, and I was trying to find where I wrote them down, but I can't. And I think it might've been called horizontal learning was the thing he said. But anyway, I totally agree with everything you just said. One thing, like, and I'll bring this back around to the training we did on Wednesday. Okay. Are there any like current AGM members on the call right now? Stick AGM in the chat if you're a current AGM member. Because I think this is a good example. Yeah. I think this is a good example, right? Because maybe you like you know, when we were first talking about AGM, maybe you were like, oh, wow, you saw like, yeah, this thing is great. Like on the training we did Wednesday, I shared a lot of our like recent wins we've gotten from from the agency growth machine strategy, right? Like we have continued to use that strategy in our business. So Michael Mott. So AGM is short for Agency Growth Machine. It's a software platform we have and a strategy that we use to start easy conversations, build a list of business owners. Like we have over 2,300 Hawaii businesses on a list that we talk to and communicate with regularly through email. And we built it with the strategy and the software. And so we've been doing this for a long time. And like we talk about it from time to time and stuff like that. But like maybe a lot of you on here, you were like maybe you saw it on this presentation or you saw a presentation and you got in, but like it's just kind of fallen by the wayside, right? Like life has gotten lifey. You've seen other stuff. You're like, like you're the kind of the excitement sort of wore off and it's been kind of stagnant, right? It's been kind of stagnant. Well, yeah, like this is like a really great example of what we're talking about with the mental toughness. Like the strategy still works. It works even better. Like, I mean, it works fantastic today, right? Like you can get results with that strategy today. So if you kind of let it fall by the wayside, one of the things I did on the training the other day was ask AGM members to like make a commitment to reactivate that, right? To go back and like revisit that strategy and start implementing it on a daily basis, because, we've been doing that pretty much every day in our business. And look, we've got that list of businesses, or the one that you just popped up there. Look, Sandy has 1,700 businesses. I saw another one in there the other day. This was just from like January. Taylor posted, like he set up an AGM site and he's been doing like an in-person meetup group around his agency growth machine site. And like he posted about his first live event. He sold like 3 premium listings at $300 a pop at the event. Like the picture of him and that with all the people there for his event was really great. At some restaurant he did it. Like, I mean, he's like going to get that thing, and building the list and creating buzz and all that stuff. And so that strategy works, right? And so part of mental toughness too is like, well, when something falls aside, like when we let something slip, but we know it's good and we know we should be doing it, like we can just dust ourselves off and start moving forward, right? So yeah, Taylor's killing it with it. Yeah, one of the things that we did on the live webinar for anybody that's an active AGM member, we put together a special little reactivation hack that you can get that's got like a bunch of our current things that we've built out for AGM. But I think more important than that, we got Richie Cronin, who's on this live now, and Dorn Britton, who's on this live now, who are both crushing it with AGM. They're going to do a special 4-week live training series to just, get the momentum going again and show you what they're doing and talk about it and all that stuff. That's really a great package. So, I mean, we'll put a link to the training. I know if you're an AGM member, like a lot of the training that comes before is new, so you'll probably get value out of that. But there's also a special part in there for active AGM members where we talked about this reactivation pack and how you can get in to do the training and all that stuff. A bunch of AGM members grabbed it, and Dorn just said it's killer. He's like, that reactivation stuff is killer. He may be a little biased because he's doing the training, but the training is going to be awesome. I think that package is worth just the training, but it was like super inexpensive. We just wanted to do something to get AGM members, psyched up again, put some skin in the game and start taking action, right? And of course, if you're a new AGM member, you get to come to those and all that stuff too. I can show you actually here. I'm going to do this and then we're going to do the member of the week. But here, I can show you guys. Look. I'll show you
also give people the link for the training too, probably.
Oh yeah. Here, let me hold on. Let me do that first. So I'm gonna put that. There you go. You go to offlinesharks.com/trapdoor clients, and you'll see the training. But then let me show you guys, since I saw there were a lot of AGM members on here, you guys will probably like want to see this. So this is the pack that's in there. And maybe too, Cameron, I don't know if you have a link just for the reactivation pack, but we might be able to just drop that in the chat too.
It's on there. If they go to that page, they'll be able to buy just the pack if they want it.
Gotcha. Cool. So this is what I talked about on the training. And so this is what we threw in the pack, right? So there's like a collection of done for you marketing materials that we're currently using with our AGM site in some different niches. So there's a restaurant pack, there's a home services pack. I'm not going to go into all the details of this, but you can see a lot of high value stuff that you get, right? These are things that we're actively using to bring in clients. And then we've got a full year of so we send a newsletter out once a week to our AGM list. So you get like an archive of 52 of our top email newsletters. So you can like see what we're doing, model what we're doing, edit them, send them out, right? This is something that's really easy. If you watch the training towards the end, talk about how I think we pay somebody $50 a month to write newsletters for us. So anyway, but you get those, right? And then I was talking about the 4-week live reactivation training. So Dorn and Richard are going to do this, and they've got it lined up pretty well, right? Like setting yourself up for success, talking about, geography versus niche, all that stuff, importing tips and tricks, email list. Week 2, they're going to talk about how to get the word out, right? And Richard, he's got like 22 of these things, and he's done this in New Zealand. And, he operates those over there, even though he's in Nashville, Tennessee now. Week 3, they're doing low-hanging fruit. Week 4, follow-ups and FAQs. So, I mean, a ton of really great value in this reactivation pack if you're a current AGM member. And we made the price like super, super low. So if you guys are interested in that, if you're an AGM active member, you might want to go check that section out. You also might just want to watch the training to see some of the more recent wins and some of the more recent success we're having. Because I know I had Jocelyn in there who sold one listing that came out to like $13K for the year. Like she had one premium listing and they bought like I think Google Business Profile from her as well. But it is probably like one of our best strategies for just an easy way to start conversations and selling people whatever it is you're selling. So really good stuff in there.
Yeah. And, also, I mean, I would just watch the training. Like Tom said, you actually don't need to buy anything to implement what we're talking about too. You can go set up your own site on your own. Yeah. Like we give you the entire strategy on that call. If you want our team to set up your site for you and use our tool, like great, then you can buy it. But if nothing else, you should go watch that training so you can see how we're doing this. And you'll probably find out that if you don't have a lot of customers or you don't have an audience of people that you might be able to try to sell to right now, that might be the missing piece, So there's a lot of really good information there and strategy, for someone that's trying to build a business remotely, to how important it is to have a pool of customers that you can start building trust with, because that's what we're doing over time. Like Tom said, I think we actually have close to 3,000 people on that list now. It's more, maybe like 2,700. And,
wow.
Oh yeah, that's it. We know that. Yeah. We were just talking about that. But what I was saying is that, so we have 2,700 people on this list for Hawaii Thrive, right? We have other sites that have other lists, but 2,700 people. Let's just talk about that one. And we've already gotten a lot of clients from them, from that list already. But think about that. That's 2,700 people that if they're not going to become a customer today, they're going to become a customer at some time. And that's what I share with our team. That's the perspective that I give to them. It's just a matter of when. So what can we do in the meantime to help those people to become customers at some point. And what we do is we provide them with value. We give them information on marketing and how they can grow their business and current events in the area. And we build trust. We position ourselves as an authority. And every so often, we will run some sort of a promotion, something that might be an irresistible offer or something that could help them even further. And at some point, they will become customers, you know. And if you can imagine having something like that for yourself, how much that would change your business. Whereas if you do not have a list or a business like that, or an asset like that, how much more difficult it will be to get customers like that ongoing, you know? So a pool of customers that you're regularly building trust with and nurturing with, I mean, that's where it's at. You need to be doing that.
Yeah. And Michael Mott, we made a special offer on that presentation where it's like a 50% discount from what we normally sell it for. So it's like super affordable to get into AGM. So yeah, just check out the training. You'll see it there. Nick, tell them about, cause you know, I meant to mention this in the training and like, I didn't, I totally forgot, but like you recently had a thing where you sent something out to the AGM list just as you just wanted to get the word out for a guy. Like you didn't even tell him that you were doing it. Can you kind of tell them that story and what happened there?
Yeah. So as you guys know, like I mentioned, right, we have 2,700 people on that list. They're all business owners in Hawaii. And so I met a guy surfing the other day who is starting, and it's somebody that I knew when I was growing up here. He worked for a big surfing brand that laid off a bunch of people, and he's starting his own thing. And so I thought that was cool, like his brand and what he's doing. I really like the mission and the message. And I was like, man, I want to help him out somehow. How can I help him out? And what I ended up doing was like telling the girl that writes our emails for that list, to which, by the way, we pay her like $10 an email to send emails for us. I asked her to make a shout out for this guy's business in that newsletter. And so she did. And then the next day, he sent me a text message with like a screenshot of it, of the email that went out with the brand at the top of the email. And he was like, man, thank you so much. I didn't even, you know, that's so cool for you to do this. I really appreciate it. And I was like, oh yeah, no problem. I didn't tell him I was going to do it. Right. And I was like, no problem. I didn't know you were on that email list. He's like, I'm not. The business owner at Maui Sporting Goods is, and he sent this to me, which is pretty cool, right? And then he said, actually, I got it from two other people as well. Like another guy he's a real estate agent who has a surf school. He sent it to him as well. And then for the next couple of days, he kept letting me know. He's like, hey, I just want to thank you again. I just got a couple more emails of people saying that they saw this in your newsletter. And, you know, it's pretty cool because like sometimes, I don't know, like I don't realize how powerful of an asset it is until you do stuff like that, you know? So some people that have AGM sites, they monetize their email list by just doing shout outs. You know, I could probably charge a couple $100 to send an email out about a business, a promotional email, or maybe it's just $50. I don't know. But think about that. The money's in the list. They always say that. And you can choose how you want to monetize that list. You can do shout outs. You can put your agency's services in like an advertisement to that list, which we do occasionally. There's just so many things you can do. And so, yeah, that was just a cool way that I was able to help a fellow business owner in the community. And again, it's all wrapped in the same messaging as Hawaii Thrive in general, right? It's a community resource helping businesses in our area get more exposure. That's exactly what I did with the email. So being able to also prospect and let people know, like, yeah, I'm the owner of Hawaii Thrive. And using that same elevator pitch is like an easy way to have those conversations that we can later, you know, close deals and bring people on as prospects. And that's, I don't want to give too much away. That's kind of the premise of what we're doing. So if you haven't seen that training, we made a crazy special offer. Tom already mentioned it's like 50% off right now for this special launch. Go to offlinesharks.com/trapdoor clients. There's a replay that we're going to leave up for a few days. You can go watch it right now. Lots of bonuses and good stuff that we've added there too.
Yeah, we do. I know that we do have some integration with Josh Amora's Syndio, but you can like what we do is we just add people to the AGM site, and then when we get their email for their listing, we just add them to a separate autoresponder. So we've used both. We've used Syndio, and we just use what you can use really any autoresponder. Lee, I saw your question there. And I reached out to the team just now while Nick was talking. And so we're going to look at that and find some stuff to address that. So got you covered.
I think we do have some, Lee. So it really probably just a matter of pointing it out to you.
Yeah, we'll get that in there. So Andy, I live in Vegas now. Nick is in Hawaii and then was part of the year in Washington. But yes, we are talking about doing it in an event mastermind. We've been talking about it for a long time. We just had so much stuff going on. It's probably going to be here in Vegas, and I'll let you know how that goes. So awesome. A couple of other things we need to do, Nick, because we're coming up on the top of the hour here. One is every week we like to acknowledge a member of the week, somebody who's been a good steward of our community. And we send them this Offline Sharks treasure chest over here you see over my shoulder. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. Some things to help you with some of the stuff we've been talking about on the show. And today, our member of the week is, let me find this, Janine Moran. She secured 2 new monthly recurring clients over the weekend and shared them in the group. So Janine, congratulations. You are Is that a radio trick where you stretch out your last words so you can get all your stuff in order? So congratulations, Janine. Let's give Janine a big shout out in the stream here. Blow up her Facebook. Somebody from the team will be reaching out. We'll get that Offline Sharks treasure chest sent to you. What other questions do we have here? And then I see lots of congrats. Let's see. That's right. Vegas, baby.
Which, I know Chris is here from Hawaii. Vegas should be a short trip for her too. A lot of people from Hawaii like going to Vegas.
Oh yeah, the Ninth Island. My daughter plays on a volleyball. She just started doing a volleyball team here. It's called Dig This, and their uniforms are all Hawaiian looking. And when I texted them about the class, my number's 808, so I think they thought I was Hawaiian. So they're probably surprised when I showed up when I was a haole. They're like, "Oh, we got another brother," but no, just a haole. Anyway, one other thing, I forgot to do this at the beginning of the show, and I don't know if she'll watch it till the end, but Vegas yesterday got a brand new driver on the roads. My daughter, Paige, she passed her driver's test. It was very exciting. And so now the fun begins.
Now the fun begins.
But congratulations, Paige. I'm super proud of
Paige. Everything's changing.
She was so nervous. I cannot believe that I have a kid with a driver's license. Like, oh my God. I don't know what made me more nervous. Like, I don't know if I was more nervous that she was going to fail or that she was going to pass. Like,
I think it's awesome. Now you and Miranda can have her drop you guys off at the club, pick you up. Like,
I know. Take me to the casino. I can be like, hey, drop that off. Come get me.
Yeah, you take full advantage of that. I mean, that's the whole point. So I think it's awesome.
I'll tell you one thing that was really interesting that they didn't do when I got my license, but like when the lady said you passed, and she was like, I need to tell you a couple things. One, it's like for 6 months, you can't, like, it's illegal for her to drive with her and her friends for 6 months.
Oh, I like that.
The only people,
I like that well.
Like if we're in the car, it's okay, but it can't just be her and her friends for the first 6 months. She can drive her little sister. Like, her and her little sister can be in the car, but no friends. And the other thing is they can't drive between 10 at night and 5 a.m. in the morning unless it's school or work related. So either they're going to school early or they're working late. And then the third thing the lady said, she goes, and by the way, this license, because you're not 18, does not belong to you. it belongs to your parents. They can come down to the DMV at any time and ask us to revoke your license, and we will take it away for any reason that they deem necessary. I was like, yes. Like, it's the best thing they said. I don't know. I don't think they did that when I was a kid. Like, I don't think my parents could have went down there and took my license away. I was like,
no.
Anyway.
No. And they definitely didn't do that here. I mean, you didn't even have, you didn't even really need a driver's license here. I didn't get my driver's license
anyway, right?
Till I was like 22. I just drove illegally. Don't tell anybody.
Yep. Yeah. And hey, just so you guys know too, I meant to point this out earlier, but the reactivation training, the 4-week live training that Dorn and Richard are doing, that is not the normal AGM calls. It's in addition to that. So I think we're going to do that reactivation thing I think it's going to be on Tuesdays, 4 Tuesdays. And it's going to start pretty soon. I think at the beginning of March. So if you pick up the reactivation pack, you'll get all the info. And also too, like I said before, if you're a new AGM member, you will get access to all that stuff as well. You'll see that on the page when you go there. There's only 2 options. One to just buy the reactivation pack, and one is the actual AGM and the reactivation pack together. So, yeah. So anyway, but the normal AGM calls happen the second Wednesday of every month for anybody that knows. So yeah, starting March 14th. That's when those 4-week live trainings are going to call. They're going to be pretty awesome. So great. All right. Well, we have one more thing to do before we get out of here today.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, cut the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
A little money song. There you go, Patty. I know Patty was chomping at the bit for the money song there. Who are our winners today?
Are Paul Plum and Kubaib Omar. Sorry if I did not pronounce your name correctly, but congratulations.
Nice.
Thank you for supporting the members in our community and wishing them a congratulations on the shout out post that we shared at the beginning of the stream. We share those basically every stream. We give away money every stream. So if this is your first stream, you definitely should come to the next one. It's on Friday next week at the same time.
Every Friday, same time, same Shark time, same Shark channel. Awesome. Well, a lot of great questions, a really great live show. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Congratulations again to all the Sharks with the wins. I hope you can implement some of the things we talked about today to start taking some action. Really that's our goal for this show every Friday. Like, we want to get you guys fired up so that on Monday you're ready to hit the ground running and start getting, start taking some action and actually implementing some of this stuff. Like, if you need some motivation, go back and look through the group at the wins. Look at all the people that are closing deals in different services with different niches and all that stuff. And just know, if you just get out there and take the action, and you can do it too. So awesome, guys. Stay safe out there. I think that's it. We'll see you here next Friday.
If you're a true shark, you won't wait till Monday. You'll get started on Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday. Yep. Yeah.
So go watch the training, offlinesharks.com/trapdoorclients. We're going to leave that up for a few days. You don't want to miss that one. And looking forward to see all your success with everybody else in the group.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam Session, your weekly marketing live show, always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with the Remote Millionaires Podcast at remotemmillionaires.com/podcast and Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.